There is something happening inside you that may be shaping your life long before you make a conscious decision. You can walk into the same room on 2 different days and experience 2 completely different worlds. On one day, you feel centered, open, alive. Other people seem easier to understand. Problems feel manageable. Opportunities become visible. On another day, fear has already entered your body before the morning begins. Your thoughts become heavier, people seem more threatening, ordinary problems feel larger, and the future appears narrower. The room did not necessarily change. Something in you did. You may call this mood, energy, emotional state, or even vibration. Jung might have approached it from another direction and asked what part of the psyche has taken possession of your perception. Because when fear dominates the inner world, you do not merely feel fear, you begin looking through it. And the same is true of resentment, shame, hope, desire, confidence, and love. The state you repeatedly inhabit begins influencing what you notice, whom you trust, what you avoid, how you speak, and even what kind of people seem strangely drawn into your life. But there is a deeper part of this mechanism. Your energy is not created only by what happens around you. Much of it comes from unconscious material you have been carrying for years. And until you recognize what is generating that inner state, you may spend your life trying to change the world, while unknowingly reproducing the same emotional atmosphere within yourself. Stay with me, because what I am about to show you may change the way you understand your mind, your energy, and the patterns that keep returning to your life. From this point on, you do not need to keep looking at me. Let your body settle. Allow your shoulders to soften. Close your eyes if you can. Take one slow breath in and let it leave gently. Then another. Let the world outside become a little less important. For the rest of this conversation, simply listen. Because we aren't trying to control the universe. We are trying to understand the hidden state from which you keep meeting it.
Now that your eyes are closed, I want you to notice something before we go any further. Do not try to change the way you feel yet. Simply notice the state you arrived in today. Maybe your mind has been restless. Perhaps a conversation is still repeating itself somewhere inside you. There may be something you are worried about, someone you cannot stop thinking about, a decision you have been trying to make, or a feeling that followed you into this moment without asking permission. Do not fight any of it. For a few moments, allow everything to be exactly where it is. Throughout my work, I came to understand that what we resist does not simply disappear. Very often, it moves deeper into the unconscious and continues to influence us from there. So today, I do not want you to force your mind to become positive. I want you to make it conscious. Because when something becomes conscious, psychic energy no longer operates entirely in the dark. Take a slow breath in, let the air enter without effort, and breathe out a little more slowly. Again, inhale gently. As you exhale, allow the muscles in your face to soften. There is nowhere else you need to be right now. Nothing has to be solved in this exact moment. Your only task is to notice. Bring your attention into the body. Feel where you are supported. Notice the movement of your breathing. And imagine that for a few minutes you are stepping away from the noise outside and entering a quieter inner space. Now notice whether you absorbed something today that may not entirely belong to you. It may have been the tension of a parent, the emotional state of your partner, or simply the energy of someone you crossed paths with, even briefly. We influence one another constantly. Some people enter our lives for only a few minutes and leave behind a feeling that stays for hours. Others remain close to us for years and gradually begin influencing the way we think, feel, and react. The psyche is sensitive. The body is sensitive. And what many people call energetic vibration is sensitive as well. When I speak of energetic vibration, I am not simply talking about feeling good or bad. I am talking about the quality of the inner state from which you are living, the rhythm of your breath, the emotion taking up the most space, the thoughts that keep repeating, the tension you are carrying, where your attention keeps going, and how much vital energy is still available to you. This is where I want to introduce an important idea. I used the word libido to describe this vital psychic energy, not merely sexual energy. I meant the inner force that feeds desire, creativity, initiative, pleasure, connection, curiosity, movement, and the will to participate in life. Libido is a current of life. And that current is directly connected to your energetic vibration. When much of your libido becomes trapped in fear, your inner vibration feels heavier. When it becomes trapped in worry, the mind loses space. When it becomes trapped in the need for approval, you begin living outwardly, constantly adjusting to what others might think. When it becomes caught in resentment, overthinking, or relationships that consume more than they return, your vital energy no longer moves freely, and you can feel this in the body. Less desire, less creativity, less enthusiasm, less presence, more fatigue, more tension, less capacity to experience pleasure. This is why raising your vibration cannot simply mean thinking positive thoughts. It means releasing psychic energy from the places where it has become trapped. It means allowing libido to move again. Now notice whether there is a person, situation, or emotion that has been consuming too much of your energy. Do not search for the perfect answer. Let an image, a sensation, or a memory appear naturally. Maybe it is someone, maybe a conversation, perhaps a worry, maybe something that has not even happened yet, but your mind has been trying to control it anyway. Now imagine a little space between you and whatever appeared. You are not rejecting it, you are simply observing it. And in that space, say quietly within yourself, I can recognize this without becoming it. Take a breath. As you breathe out, allow a small part of the tension to soften. You do not need to force anything away. You do not need to solve it. You do not need to understand everything right now. Simply let the body realize that it does not have to hold everything with the same intensity. A thought may appear. Let it. A face, a sentence, a memory, an unfinished conversation. You do not need to complete that conversation now. Notice how much psychic energy can remain trapped in inner dialogues that continue long after the actual event has ended. When you repeatedly rehearse someone else's opinion in your mind, your attention remains attached to them. And where attention goes, psychic energy tends to follow. So for the next few breaths, we will do the opposite. Breathe in slowly. Imagine bringing your attention back from conversations, back from expectations, back from worries, back from other people, back from futures that have not happened. Bring your attention into the body, into your breathing, back to your own center. Breathe again, and think quietly. I bring my energy back to myself, not as a magical command, as an act of consciousness. Now notice your body. Perhaps something has shifted slightly, maybe not. Do not force it. The purpose is not to create a perfect state. The purpose is to become less fragmented. Bring your awareness toward the center of your chest and ask, what state has consumed the most energy in me today? Wait. Let the first honest answer come. Maybe fear, anxiety, pressure, resentment, comparison, sadness, guilt, exhaustion. Whatever it is, do not make it your enemy. And do not immediately tell yourself that you are in a low vibration, as though something is wrong with you. Energetic vibration does not rise through denial. It reorganizes through consciousness. If fear is present, notice what it is trying to protect. If anger is there, ask whether a boundary has been crossed. If resentment appears, perhaps you have been giving more of yourself than you truly wish to give. If comparison appears, there may be a desire of your own that has not yet found room to live. If sadness is present, perhaps something mattered deeply. When an emotion is understood, part of the energy trapped inside it can begin to move again. This is where libido begins to free itself. Vital energy does not simply vanish. It can become trapped. It can be redirected. It can be consumed by unconscious conflict, but it can also return. Take another slow breath. Imagine that a small part of the energy trapped in fear begins to come back. The energy tied to someone else's opinion, to pressure, to the need for control, to the past, to the future. Allow it to return to the present. If imagery helps you, imagine that energy as a gentle warmth in the center of the body. Nothing dramatic, just alive. Let that warmth spread slowly through your chest, your abdomen, your shoulders, your arms, and your legs. Let the body remember that it is not only a place where tension accumulates, it is also the place where life is felt. It is where desire begins, where pleasure can be felt, where intuition speaks, where action begins. This is why libido matters. When psychic energy remains chronically trapped in fear, less is available for desire. When your attention is constantly monitoring other people, less energy remains for creativity. When resentment occupies much of your inner world, even rest can become exhausting. Recovering libido does not mean forcing yourself to feel sexual desire. It does not mean pretending to feel motivated or excited. It means bringing back into your own life the energy that has been unconsciously spent in places that may no longer deserve so much of you. Now ask quietly, where has my energy been going lately? Do not look for a beautiful answer. Look for an honest one, maybe toward worry, a relationship, work, approval, comparison, someone from the past, fear of what might happen, trying to control something that is not entirely yours to control. Let one answer form. Then ask, do I really want to keep giving so much of my life energy to this? You do not need to make a major decision right now. Just notice the answer. Consciousness comes before change. Return to the breath. Inhale gently. As you exhale, imagine releasing just one small layer of what you no longer need to keep carrying. Again, breathe in. Now choose one quality you would like to create more room for within yourself. Peace, vitality, desire, courage, clarity, confidence, creativity, presence. Do not choose what sounds the most spiritual. Choose what feels necessary. Let that quality become an inner direction. You do not need to pretend that you already feel it fully. You are simply giving your psychic energy somewhere new to move. The unconscious does not transform only because we repeat words. It learns through repeated experience. That is why you can return to this practice every day. Each time you may arrive carrying something different. Anxiety, anger, fatigue, a mind that does not want to slow down. That does not mean you have failed. The practice is the act of returning. Returning to the body. Returning to consciousness. Returning your attention to where your life actually is. Bringing psychic energy back to yourself. If it feels comfortable, place one hand over your chest, feel the contact, and think quietly. My energy does not need to remain everywhere my attention has been trapped. Breathe. I can feel without becoming everything I feel. Another breath. I can care for others without carrying everything that belongs to them. Again. I allow my energy to return to me. Now let those sentences disappear. Do not turn them into an automatic chant. Let the meaning remain. Notice your breath again. Notice the space around your thoughts. There may still be problems waiting for you. You can face them later, but you may be able to meet them with more of your own energy available. This is where what many people call vibration begins to take on a deeper meaning. Not as an obligation to feel happy all the time, not as a way of denying reality, but as the inner state from which you meet reality. When the body is less consumed by fear, you may interpret a conversation differently. When less energy is trapped in approval seeking, you may speak more honestly. When resentment loosens, you may notice choices that were previously invisible. When the mind becomes less fragmented, creativity has room to return. A different inner response can create a different outer experience. And different responses, repeated over time, can begin to change the direction of a life. Not because the universe is required to obey every thought you have, but because when your inner state changes, the way you participate in reality changes too, and that changes what becomes possible. Before we finish, I want to leave you with a very simple practice you can use today, and whenever you notice your energetic vibration becoming heavy, pause for a few seconds, take a breath, then ask yourself, what am I carrying right now? Then, does all of this really belong to me? And finally, where do I want my energy to go from here? Then choose one small action that matches the answer. Rest. Move your body. Create something. Step away for a moment. Say no. Speak clearly. Stop explaining yourself. Finish what needs to be finished, or simply leave something alone. The action does not have to be large. What matters is that your psychic energy begins moving in a direction you consciously chose. That is how inner authority develops. Not through one dramatic awakening, through small returns, again and again. And when you return to this practice another day, you may notice another layer, a different feeling, another place where your energy has become trapped. Let each return become a small movement back toward yourself. You do not need to vibrate at some perfect frequency. You do not need to feel good all the time. I want something deeper for you. I want you to become more whole, more conscious, more present. Because when more of your psychic energy belongs to your actual life, vitality has more room to move. Your libido has more room to awaken. Your mind has more room to become clear. And what happens around you begins to lose some of its power to pull you away from your own center. Perhaps this is what you are really looking for when you say you want to raise your vibration. Not a perfect frequency, not permanent happiness, but the feeling of your own life moving through you again. The return of energy that had been scattered across worry, fear, expectations, other people, and unresolved emotional tension. The return of desire, the return of creativity, the return of presence. And when that energy begins to move again, something changes in the way you meet life. You become less reactive, less easily pulled into the emotional state of everyone around you. More capable of noticing what belongs to you and what does not. More capable of feeling something deeply without immediately surrendering your entire inner world to it. This is not emotional detachment, it is inner coherence. Your energetic vibration becomes stronger not because nothing affects you, but because everything no longer has the same power to possess you. And that is where real magnetism begins. Not in forcing yourself to appear positive, not in pretending fear does not exist, but in having enough inner presence that fear does not decide everything. Enough awareness that someone else's tension does not automatically become your tension. Enough connection with your own libido that your life energy is no longer scattered everywhere except where you need it most. So today, remember only this: your energy follows your attention. And every time you consciously bring your attention back, you are also bringing part of your life back. If someone came to mind while you were listening, someone who seems drained, mentally overwhelmed, disconnected from their vitality, or constantly absorbing the emotional energy around them, send this video to that person. Perhaps they also need a way to return to themselves. And now, you do not need to do anything else. Allow your thoughts to lose some of their urgency. Let your body be supported. Your energy does not need to remain everywhere your attention traveled today. Bring it back to your body, to your breath, to your libido, to your life, to yourself.